Want candy? Want candy now?
What's going on, everybody? Nazdarachi coming back at you guys with another episode of Relic Review, and we do have a lot of game updates and a reasonable amount of information to cover in this episode, so I'm going to try and keep it as quick as possible, but we're going to jump right into it here. First and foremost, the Final Fantasy VII event has been delayed. It will be occurring on July 4th. That is when the Cloud USB banner will be in full force. So that has kind of altered the schedule of things, and we now have a Final Fantasy XIII event opening the Legend Materia, and a lot of new offensive USB stuff is starting now. That does mix things up. We will have this Final Fantasy XIII event, we will have a 9 event, and the 6 event, then there'll be Extreme Fest in the mix, and a Final Fantasy XII event, then we will get the Final Fantasy VII event. So that may alter your plans for some of your mithril and your pulls. I do plan on pulling on this first banner because I have relatively nothing for Sid Rains or Lightning, and as well, there is a new character, Jill Nabat, if I'm not mistaken, being introduced into the game, and she hits the ground running pretty hard as well. She's a good character. So she'll be featured primarily on this banner, as well as Lightning and Sid Rains. Lightning does get her offensive USB, which has the EX mode, which I'll cover in a second here. Sid Rains gets an OSB and an LMR, which is a Legend Materia Relic. His LMR is kind of skippable. It just increases the length of the duration of his buffs, and Sid Rains is pretty good at self-buffing anyway. So it will impact the duration of roaming warriors, but besides that, his LMR is kind of skippable, and Vanille will be featured on the second banner. Hers is around, I believe, a 35% chance to double cast white magic, so that one is amazing. Definitely better in my personal opinion, and I already have Vanille built. So moving forward, let's try and get through some other information here. We do have the Maintenance Complete new features. That is the Legend Materia. If you go into the subsection, it will explain to you the basics of Legend Materia. You will need 5-star motes, and there is a special record dive tree for characters that have Legend Materia, and you will use this new currency to buy your way through this tree. Each character that has Legend Materia has 2 of them. Only that character can use them once they are unlocked, and they will significantly increase the deadliness or effectiveness of your heals, damage, whatever the case may be. Great new mechanic. It's going to be able to allow the developers to up the difficulty of the game and allow us a way to strengthen our teams even further. So that will be that effect right there, and the new Legend Materia. Great stuff. Next up, we do have the Hall of Rights update. This will be almost all the remaining, if not all the remaining, Memory Crystal Load 3s that we were missing. So for me, Edea screamed out on the list almost immediately. I got hers. But there are some other great characters on here, like Ricard. You almost fell for it, didn't you? And anyway, some other good characters on here that you can now get to level 99. Keep that in mind. Check out the list. See if there's any that stand out for you. Again, Edea, very powerful character, so I jumped on that one almost immediately. Another new feature added is the LMR equipment that I was telling you about. It basically just follows similar principles to other Soul Break equipment. Instead of the piece of equipment that you draw on the banner having a Soul Break attached to it, it will have a 3rd Legend Materia that a character, like only certain characters will have these, but it will give them a 3rd Legend Materia. And until you master the relic, it is just like a Soul Break. If you unequip that relic, you'll lose access to that materia, but once you master it, that particular character can use it whenever you see fit. So that's what's going to be under this tab. You can check that out if you need some more information. And the new effects added is going to detail the EX mode for you. So essentially what that's going to be is a unique set of buffs that a character will get, primarily from offensive USBs. One reason why Cloud's USB is going to be so amazing is because of the EX mode attached to it. But they are basically unique buffs. They will stack with identical regular buffs. So if you have, for example, a moderate attack buff on your EX mode and you stack it with a moderate attack buff Soul Break, they will stack because the EX mode is a unique ID. So each character that's got a USB that grants EX mode is going to have different effects. Lightning's is basically whenever she uses a lightning ability, she will gain quick cast on her next command. So you will basically be chaining lightning abilities together to keep her acting super fast for DPS. And then as well, it gives her a 30% attack bonus and maybe one other stat too. We'll check out the Relic in a minute. But that's just a general idea of what the EX mode is there. Just unique buffs that will make characters even more powerful. When you combine that with legend materia, we're going to see some amazing combinations coming up in the game soon for an insane amount of damage and other useful effects as well. So definitely check your item chest today. As you can see, they kicked off the start of this new system by giving us some of the currency we're going to need. So you'll have a ton of 5-star, well, not a ton, but you'll have a decent amount of 5-star motes to start you off. As well, they gave out some 3- and 4-star motes and more mithril, of course, for the 5 mithril every day. You're going to want to catch up on that as well and make sure you got that going on also. So make sure you collect all the stuff they gave you there. Did that just now, and from here we can move on to the Relic banner itself. Now they also did add this Select Nightmare banner. I'm going to hit this one and check it out real quick here first. I'm not going to include all the soul break animations from it because I don't think it is a particularly good banner. I personally would not waste a whole lot of resources on it, but it does feature Squall's BSB2, an amazing BSB that just came out, as well as Cloud's BSB2. So you may want to draw on this one. I have a lot of dupes on this one already, like I have Cloud's BSB2 already, and I'm not too interested in much of anything else except for Ferris's USB. Honestly, I have the Onion Knight and the Shout and the Physician's Staff. I wouldn't mind Tiro's BSB. I have Tenets of the Faith already. I don't really care for Renoa's BSB. I have the Dagger of Resolve already. So lots of dupes for me on this banner. There is some good equipment. These two BSBs right here, especially, and as well Ferris's USB. So let's go ahead and quickly make our 100 gem pull on this banner. That's probably all I'm going to devote to this. With everything up and coming here, and as well Cid Reigns and Lightning on the banner, it's hard to really pay much attention to this one. Although, like I said, Ferris's USB would be great. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything good. So we're going to pop on out of this banner here and not spend too much more time with that one. Like I said, I may revisit it for small draw here, but I doubt it. And let's check out the main banner here. This is what's going to have all the good stuff. They did as well change the UI again. I don't know, everyone should probably notice that. I was confused at first for a second, and then I just realized more updates after maintenance yesterday. So the first item is going to be the Ultra Soul Break for Lightning. It's the Razor Carbine. This is an amazing sword, 6-star with 172 attack, and it is the only sword in the game that adds a consistently active boost to lightning damage. So that makes it an exceptionally useful sword. The USB on it as well is amazing for lightning. So you have the Ultra Soul Break, the Army of 1, 10 physical lightning and non-elemental attacks to 1 target, reduce the delay of the user's actions for 1 turn, which will kickstart her EX mode, temporarily infuse the user with the power of lightning, and enter Blinding EX mode. Blinding EX mode temporarily raises the user's attack a moderate amount, reduces the delay of the user's actions after making a lightning attack. So if you lead with this Ultra Soul Break, which is really good for lightning DPS, into her BSB to continually pump out boosted attacks at a decreased cast time, this is just an amazing combination for doing a ton of damage here. Great Ultra Soul Break. I don't have lightning developed at all, but I honestly wouldn't mind that. It combos really well with her other lightning-based soul breaks, and as well it'll combo very well with Shantoto's Chain Soul Break for lightning. So amazing moves here. They're really going to start unloading some very powerful stuff on us here now. Next up, we have a new OSB for Cid Reigns here. It is the Oversoul, a fist weapon, 122 attack, 164 magic. So as we know, Cid is a hybrid magic physical character, and it does add a small boost to dark damage no matter what realm you're in. So another amazing piece of equipment here. Your Overstrike Soul Break, Shattered Dreams, Massive Magic Dark, and Holy damage to one target. Deals more damage the shorter the countdown of the user's doom counter. Can break the damage cap. So this is tried and true definition of a finishing move. The way Overstrikes should be used here. Your damage multiplier is going to directly correlate with your doom counter. So you're going to want to wait until the end of battle. Just keep cycling his BSB and keep stacking up the damage through that, and when the enemy's health is ideally low and your doom counter is low, you unleash this and you can do a pretty good amount of damage. The only drawback to this Overstrike Soul Break is it means that you really do have to bring Memento Mori on Cid Raines, because he's so versatile being able to use Wrath and Breakdowns. You may have him geared a little differently on his abilities, but now with this Overstrike, you are definitely going to want to bring Memento Mori on him to get that damage multiplier in action. Still useful as a finishing move without Memento Mori, I suppose, but it kind of deadlocks at least one of his ability slots. And then you're probably going to want Wrath on the other ability slot unless you have an Entruster in your party. So very interesting Overstrike. I honestly wouldn't mind missing out on this one if it means that I could pull his BSB. So let's cross our fingers for Cid Raines' BSB. But honestly, I wouldn't mind too much if I got the Oversoul either here. And next up, we have the BSB, the Metamorphosis Clause. Very famous BSB, one of the most, if not the single most powerful mage DPS items in the entire game. As well, small boost to dark damage and effect at all times, 89 attack, 128 magic, and the Burst Soul Break Metamorphosis, 6 magic, dark, and holy attacks to one target, raise the magic of all allies in moderate amount and defense a small amount, and grant haste burst mode to the user. It's a great entry effect, single target. It's capable of doing a pretty reasonable amount of damage, especially when you're recasting it and you already have Cid nice and buffed up. Now, the buff is very good for the whole team, especially if you're running a mage meta team. This is a very, very well-known relic, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it is top-notch, definitely an A+ relic. Shining Moment, 4 magic dark holy attacks to one target, and remove the delay from the user's magic attacks for one turn. So with the reduced cast time, he is capable of doing an amazing amount of DPS with this command 1 here, especially when you combo it with the second command, Lingering Spirit, which is a bargain command, which will up his damage stat even further at the cost of a resistance stat. So 2 magic dark and holy attacks, AoE, temporarily lower the user's resistance a moderate amount, and raise magic a moderate amount. So Cid Raines capable of stacking a great amount of buffs here. That in turn with the cast time reduction is why he is the most favored DPS mage in the game right now. He's amazing. I would love to get this relic. It's eluded me so far throughout the entire time I've ever drawn for it, so I'd love it. Next up here, we have a sword for the new character Jill. Magic, dark, and non-elemental damage to 9 random targets. Temporarily lower their dark resistance and grant haste burst mode to the user. It is a sword, 89 attack, 134 magic. Now, this is an interesting entry here. It will stack quite nicely on a dark theme team, as well as with Cid Raines. So, first command, Harsh Punishment, 4 magic dark non-elemental attacks to one target, and Fiendish Smile, 2 magic dark non-elemental attacks to all targets with a small chance to temporarily lower their dark resistance a small amount. So stacking debuffs with the entry effect and burst command 2, and then you do have a reasonably good DPS command 1. Unfortunately, it's missing the cast time reduction or really any other modifying stat, but it's still pretty good when you combo it with the fact that you are reducing their resistance to dark here a whole bunch. And honestly, this character, like I mentioned earlier, is coming in pretty strong. She is definitely a desirable character, but hopefully we can stick to some Cid Raines or potentially lightning stuff. Speaking of lightning, we have her BSB and Kindler up next here. It is a gunblade or sword, 135 attack, no bonus effects, and focus bolts, 8 ranged physical lightning and non-elemental attacks to random targets, temporarily lower their resistance to lightning, and grant haste and burst mode to the user. Your burst command 1, Azure Lightning, 4 physical lightning and non-elemental attacks to one target, reduce delay before hitting, and Thunderclap, 2 physical lightning and non-elemental attacks to all targets, reduce delay before hitting. So when you combo this with her Ultra Soul Break EX mode, You're going to have reduced delay going on all over the place. You're going to be doing tons of lightning damage. This is a super powerful combo, making Lightning one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful lightning characters in the game right now. Great DPS, she's super strong. Definitely you can tell she's one of the developers' favorites, and she's coming in very powerful in this banner here. Great BSB, again, you will want to combo that with her new USB. I'm loving these new offensive USBs here. Next up we have Lightning's Reprise. This is her LMR, her Legend Materia Relic. Light armor, 17 attack, 115 defense and resistance, and your bonus effect is the Legend Materia. You have a small chance for offensive lightning abilities to trigger twice. It is an amazing combination with all the other stuff she's got going on here. So you're doing all this damage, cast time reduced, her EX mode is active, and then her offensive lightning ability is potentially going off twice. It's really mind-blowing. Lightning is going to be doing an absurd amount of damage here. I'm actually really excited to see some videos of people cranking out some ridiculous damage with lightning here. This is going to be the more desirable LMR on this banner. Definitely better than Sid Reigns, just because Sid Reigns coming up next here, not the most useful effect on it. Nothing nearly as useful as double casting like that. Now Sid Reigns, I believe, does have a double cast Legend Materia, but it's not coming from his Relic here. I may be wrong about that, but I think that is the case, that it's earned through record diving him. But anyway, Reigns Reprise, his LMR here, light armor, 10 attack, 17 magic, and 115 defense resistance. It also adds minor dark resistance in addition to the Legend Materia, which is not ultra useful. It'd be nicer if this was small dark damage increase, but it will still help if you pack this in certain dungeons. So your Legend Materia here, Mouth of the Dead, increase the duration of the stat buffs generated by the user and their related effects a small amount. Applies to most stat buffs and their effects. So again, this is useful, especially with roaming warriors, and it will increase the duration of his stat buffs, but Sid Reigns is pretty good because he has the ability to use Wrath, and his burst commands are reduced cast time. He generates Soul Break gauge very, very quickly, and generally he can recast his BSB and regain all his buffs before they would really expire. So that's kind of why I do not favor this Legend Materia right here. I would much rather you guys and myself pull the one for Lightning, but it's still good if you're trying to go for 100% mastery of Sid Reigns, and as well, it'll give you a Legend Materia to use on him right now, seeing as how none of us have the 100 motes required to actually record dive him to get his better Legend Materia. So with that being said, it is kind of useful for now, I guess, if you pull it, but God, cross my fingers that that's not the only item I pull on this banner. I would actually be pretty sad. Next up, we have another item for Jill in the bot here. Light armor, 17 magic, 115 defense resistance. Again, minor holy resistance this time instead of dark. Again, you will need to combo that in the right situation to get the best effect out of it. And you do have a super soul break, call reinforcements, deal magic, dark, and non-elemental damage to 7 random targets, and temporarily lower their attack and magic a large amount. So that's a very nice stackable debuff there. As well, you get 7 random targets, so still a reasonable amount of damage, and it's just cool that this new character is hitting the ground with a BSB and an SSB, both on the same banner. Definitely a lot better than General Leo, who came out many months ago with only an SSB, and is now going to be finally getting his BSB upcoming here shortly, but you see they did it much better for this character here. She's got pretty good relics with good effects hitting the table as soon as she comes out. So I actually like both of her relics. They are quite useful. And next up here we have Endless Blessings. This is a returning item, Meteor Blaze, 81 attack, 129 magic. It is a ranged weapon, a bow. You have Super Soul Break, Endless Blessings, temporarily raise the magic and mind of all allies a moderate amount and grant them haste. Another very good effect, more so if you're running a mage team, but good stackable buff there. It will stack with Onion Knight and as well Rams's USB and plenty of other really good buffs to up your healing and magic damage output. So throw this on the mage team or roaming warrior it, and it will definitely help you out. Very nice. Very good buff. Next up, we have a Super Soul Break for Cid. Cid's Finery, Light Armor, 10 attack, 17 magic, 111 defense and resistance, no bonus effects, and your Super Soul Break, Seraph's Wing, 6 magic non-elemental attacks to random targets, reduce the user's magic casting time for 4 turns, raise the user's magic a moderate amount, and resistance a small amount, and afflict the user with doom. So, this is actually a reasonably useful Super Soul Break for Cid Reigns. How I stated earlier, how using his OSB kind of requires you to have Memento Mori, having this Soul Break on Cid and his ability to generate enough Soul Break gauge to actually squeeze it in midway through the battle means that you will now not necessarily need to bring Memento Mori again, which really puts Cid Reigns back to where he was, and you'll be able to have Wrath and a breakdown on him, or just anything besides Memento Mori. Dire Heal is another reasonably good ability to throw on Cid. So with that being said, this Super Soul Break actually is not super awesome by itself, but when you combo it with his OSB, it actually gives Cid a very nice tactical advantage when it comes to selecting abilities for him. So I'm going to actually say it's pretty good if you have Cid Reigns pretty well built. Just by itself, you're probably not going to want this one, but it is quite useful when you have everything all said and done thrown together. Now that was the last item on the banner here. Let's go ahead and make our 100 gem draw. Hopefully we get something a little better than on that Nightmare Select banner here. Cross your fingers, get something good. I am willing to spend my gems on this banner because there is a wealth of really good stuff. And we got shafted again right there. So, oh man, this could end really badly, or it could end really well. If we get a 1 out of 11, Cid Reigns SSB. But I shouldn't even say things like that. But let's go ahead and make an 11 draw. Again, we have all the way till July 4th to save up for Cloud's USB. So some of you may want to just continue saving, but I'm going to wager that a lot of people are going to want to draw on this banner right here. Just ultra powerful characters and great combinations available. Just, this is a really good banner, you guys. So we got a 2 out of 11. Hopefully one of those is Metamorphosis Claws. I'll root through all this nonsense here, and I guess we'll see. 2 SSBs incoming! Yeah, well, there's one. We got the Serah, the most irrelevant one. And what is that? The BSB for the new character. So, we did get the BSB for Nabat here, as well as the old Super Soul Break, the Meteor Blaze. Not an ideal draw on this banner really at all, with the Legend Materia and other BSBs incoming on it. So I may do another pull on this banner here. If I do, I'll save it for Sunday. Now that's the banner that's going to come out and favor Vanille. So still a lot more bad luck. Now, I did get the BSB, but it is what it is. You know, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you get in a rut. So that's going to be it for this video, you guys. We got what we got, and I may squeeze another draw into the video for Sunday or something like that. We did come out with the BSB for the new character. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of the USB, OSB, or Legend Materia action that's going on this banner, which unfortunately is quite sad. But I hope you guys had amazing luck on your pulls for this banner. I'm sure quite a few of you did splurge a little bit on this one here. Other than that, I hope you did enjoy the episode of Relic Review. Leave a like if you do enjoy the content. It definitely helps me out. Sorry this video was a little bit longer. There was a lot to cover. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join the family. The link for Discord will also be down in the description. Again, I hope you guys have amazing luck on this banner. Much better than mine was so far. I will catch you guys on Sunday for the second banner. And until then, have a good one, y'all. Peace out.